some dungeons.
And we're live. Welcome to Gamebreakers. My name is Thomas. I am here with Will, Mario, Allison, and Tragon. Oh, the screen is flipped, so everything I pointed went wrong. And nothing could go wrong. Oh god, it all went wrong. We are continuing our Tomb of Annihilation sort of game. Our Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. We have embarked on a side quest as our usual GM has had some technical difficulties, and I'm not going to spoil the quest for myself. So, as the stand-in GM, I am running a complete side quest. The group has followed one of their fellows turned into an arrow, shot across the plains and seemingly through time into the Beastlands currently. The party is following the trail and was ambushed by an Arcanoloth, which they have discovered was a time duplicate. They were made aware of some cosmic horror unbound from time called a Fane, and hilarity ensued. The team rested from frankly a brutal fight while several hours away, Ole and your new friend have had plenty of time to get acquainted after you ejected. Yours were the only ejection seats that worked in the small Spelljammer craft that got you through the portal, but seemed whether the craft or the pilot was unprepared for gravity will be a question for history. But one thing's for sure, you're not nowhere near the group. But after some hours, this forest is remarkably peaceful. Copses of mixed trees, friendly beasts. What's your alignment?
Mine?
Yeah.
Chaotic. Neutral.
Okay. So you do get some side eye, but nobody picks a fight. Like there are definitely squirrels gossiping about you, 100%. You can see it in their eyes, and like there are things in the woods pacing you that you catch wind of one way or the other more than once in your journey, but nothing that goes after you.
Nothing hunting me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're easily able to pick out where your group is by the explosions over there, and there was clearly something going on, and you saw your trajectory all the way down, so you're able to pick a path pretty easily. What's your passive survival?
Oh, so I have survival? I do. So that'd just be what, without rolling?
Yeah, it's just 10 plus your score.
14.
Okay, so you are easily able to get back there by like late in the evening. Although I say late in the evening, there is no evening. There's no sunset. You travel for about 9.5 hours, but the sun remains in the same place in the sky. You are in the day level of the Beastlands, and it is always just the right day. You are, however, in the shadow of a massive plateau, but the temperature is perfect. Everything is pleasant. There's ample food along the way.
Yeah, this unnerves me.
The land is actively friendly.
Yeah, like I said, I feel a little unnerved by it. Life is not that nice. Why should any one place be?
Things just go too well here. Yeah, all the berries are ripe. None of them are sour. It is
time to start a fire and watch it burn.
Right. You wander past a group of deer and see a predator, a mountain lion about to go for him. You're like, finally a fight. And it just tackles one of them and then like licks its ear and goes off and sets up to do it again. But you find your group after they had finished their long rest and were about to take off, and we'll intercept the group there.
Have you guys seen how nutty this place is? Deer and lions frolicking with one another.
So peaceful.
In case you weren't aware,
All death that
half of
happened.
us just died. So half of us are like on our last hit point or just got healed from it. So we're like coated in mucus and blood and anyway.
Well, this is hours later. You've had your rest, so you're much better now. But
I
But
exaggerated.
very disheveled looking, yeah.
We're just whining. I'm whining. That's all I'm saying. I'm whining about it.
Zaka will full on call you out. Boy, sure could have used you here 12 hours ago. But she'll proceed to give you the blow by blow of the fight and what you missed. The very short version is this was a fiend that was very really anti-magic, but also had some sort of time screwy powers, like you kept getting frozen in time for a second, or having the memories of a million deaths intersect into your minds at once. Bad things.
Okay.
And multiple reactions per round.
What a dick move, I know,
counterspelling
right?
everything. I think I cast at least a spell per round, and every single one was counterspelled. It definitely made me doubt my usefulness to the party. I realized later what I really should have done is just poke him, but I was stuck on the spell thing.
It's like you can't. Yeah, it doesn't seem reasonable that he could counterspell that much.
It wasn't. It was absolute bullshit, and from the DM's chair, I regret nothing. The base Arcana Loth is is built with multiple levels of counterspell in it, and I just turned that up to 11, and you're welcome. But I will say, hilariously, you did discover that it couldn't counterspell cantrips. So yeah, your Blade Singer cantrip pokes would have.
So
next time.
I was down to 2 hit points, but a couple of you actually died. Was Roken? Who was it that died? So but I think somebody else did too. Maybe Azaka. Azaka died. Oh, and the fox.
Azaka stayed up by this much.
Did Gom didn't die? You got low, but you didn't die.
No, yeah, no, I did. I got downed, and on my first death save, I nat 20 and got back up and joined the fight.
And then did the lightning bolt that took him out.
So you're telling me,
Yeah, it
folks
was fairly
died, but I'm not seeing any graves, so it was a good
zeroed, downed.
Well, he turned me into a newt, but I got better.
We did all right. We have a lot of questions, says Azaka.
Other interesting side note. So in the place we just came from, you may remember regenerations, resurrections were not working, but apparently they do here. So, oh yeah, maybe we're in the past or something?
Yes, most likely in the past, from
Or
what
something.
we've determined. There are no legend of Raz Nizi, so those things haven't happened yet.
Azaka is ready to go, and it's just kind of like looking at the path, at the silver line through the forest, the path the arrow took, and just like waiting for y'all. Are we casting spells before we leave? Chatting, then casting spells at lunch? Both column A, column B. I'm ready to go.
Rary's telepathic bond ritual before we do anything, just for fun, so I can talk all yours off while we're riding or whatever we do, walking. I mean, mutually.
And then off along the path. Azaka sets out. She seems to have no doubts about the direction. She just follows the angel's path, unless anybody directs her otherwise. And she's just quiet. I as a GM, I know you guys have been talking about all sorts of crazy shenanigans and divinations and things that you've been talking about. I assume that is the topic of conversation, at least an hour or two in. By the time you've caught your pace.
Yeah, Gom, you were saying how do we find the missing party member? But so were we talking about him or Wayne or someone else?
I believe it is Wayne.
Ah, okay. I'm thinking I can't do a ritual spell while we're walking, though, can I? Oh, wait, that was yours. You were going to cast that one.
So that will be my first divination.
So describe what happens.
Are we stopping for lunch for this, or?
It's like a 10-minute break or something.
Okay.
Right. How do we find Wayne?
So what does Gom do? Or Nanette? Is it Nanette casting this spell?
This is going to be Gom.
Okay.
And for this, it's going to be a collection of some freshly bloomed flowers collected. I'll have selected them for their various, secondary herbalism, medicinal, or alchemical properties. Something that I could gather to achieve the offering, which I will offer to Sylvanas.
It's just like a basket full of flowers.
Yep.
Right. It's a pretty sizable amount, like a pound of flowers for raw material. Cool. So you spend 10 minutes attempting to send a question out in the direction of the moon's court. And as you are tuned in and listening to the signs and omens around you, you feel a wind tug at your cloak and dance sort of through. You feel the wind pick up, and as you do, it splits along the line of the arrow shot and makes just a little harmonious two-toned harmonic song for just a moment. And that is the omen you receive.
Well, as I consider this for a moment, and I will share it over the telepathic bond. And my contribution is that, it is along this way, following what we previously saw, that will lead us there. Open to interpretation, of course.
What does everybody think about me doing a legend lore on the subject of what we just saw and Wayne's angel and stuff right now? To get more input on it. Anybody voting against that idea?
No, sounds good. Which one are you going to
I
do
don't know
first?
why anyone would.
Well, I mean, I don't want Azaka to get mad at me and be super irritated and impatient. Anybody got a big bowl of milk for her? Sorry. So, legend lore on the subject of Wayne's angel. Does anybody know the name of that moon goddess angel?
Azaka
No.
does.
Oh, does it?
Azaka.
She and Wayne have had many long conversations of an evening. Sometimes they do actually talk. Often just referred to as Angel of the Huntress Moon, or Dothiriel. Dothiriel. She is, I mean, Wayne is spent his life crafting himself in her image. What you know of Wayne is a reflection of her, as far as to the best of his ability. She is a hunter. She seeks things that lurk in the darkness.
Can you spell the name again?
Dothiriel.
Iriel. Dothiriel?
Dothiriel. Yes.
Dothiriel.
So that information is from Azaka. So that's not. I haven't cast the legend lore about it
Correct.
yet.
That is what Azaka knows from her talks with Wayne. Just knowing, you know, he wears that shit right on his sleeve, and she has spent some time talking with him about it. So
Okay, so the legends lore, it's not a specific question, but it's a subject. So the subject is her, but the specific subject that Chippy is interested in is how would it be possible to get her help with hunting a really scary time-based bad guy? I mean, Defane.
So that's not how legend lore works. Legend lore, you feed it a subject and you get a little book report about its legends.
Okay.
So what is the subject you're feeding it? Angel, Fane, other?
Let's just start with Dothiriel.
Okay. You expend your components. They are costly, but I'm not sure. But you were given several by like Wayne was picking some up. I don't remember how many he had. And you're casting it as a ritual, probably at the same time. So legends of Dothiriel are many. She is a high-ranking Eladrin in the Court of the Moon. She is the unfailing huntress. The new moon's arrow. She hunts in darkness. That is her mythos. And the worship that the small amount of worshippers that name her directly are hunters, rangers, people who are lost in darkness as well, seeking safety. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, tales of wars in heaven, but mostly of like, she's a long, painstaking planning and cleverness are her hallmarks, right? And also absolute perseverance. She has never given up a hunt. There are legends of her engaged in a hunt or engaged in, yeah, we'll call it a hunt of agents of some timeless being, right? That is part of her like celestial calling. One of the things that she and a small other group of angels are engaged in as part of their duties. And I'm just checking to see legend lore. If there's more you would get. I mean, you have a
Talking about the Fane.
What's
I think
that?
that has to be a separate one, right? Well, I mean, there's some reference there that the legends of hunting agents of a timeless being. That's cool.
And that would be that would, given the level of precision and detail you currently have, which was a lot. I mean, you had titles, names, you had descriptions. You were in close contact with one of her direct agents. But yeah, most of the stories are less like general and more spy. Yeah, that would be what you get there.
Well, this Fane sounds right in the wheelhouse of an ethereal hunt.
Shall we discuss that information and consider what our next questions are as we continue traveling?
Certainly.
Well, we are following this path because it's the way of the arrow. Perhaps we can retrieve the arrow or your friend or something of both. But also we know that there is a threat here too that's going to be faced. The Fane? Fake Fane? What do we know about this?
About what? Sorry?
The Fane?
Oh, not a lot.
I would say that would be tomorrow's legend lore. We could use information to contact planes on it today, but I don't. I mean, do you want to use our
divination
right now on that?
I could consider divination.
Yeah, I could do either divination or a contact other plane on the subject of the Fane right now, if you want me to.
It sounds like Shragon also has that spell.
Can you do it multiple times though? I mean, if you do it once and I do it once, do we not run the risk? I'm assuming that way we would not run the risk of getting a false result the way we would if one of us repeated ourselves. Am I wrong?
No. Especially if the religious offerings that you gave targeted different beings.
Like you're going to a source. That source doesn't want to be harassed, but perhaps if you try a different source.
Right. I'm going to check the city housing planning department and the county planning department and Department of Health and Human Services just to find the one good employee.
Keep hanging up and calling back until you get somebody that sounds really nice.
Well, my morning's offerings were till Sylvanus, so perhaps this evening, as we prepare, I will consider my ritual for Elioin. What is the name of this angel?
I mean, maybe Chippy's divination spell, like he doesn't really have any particular angel contact in particular, so if there's anyone that you don't want to do, then I can aim my question at that one. Can anybody do a knowledge religion check on who, what other gods Detheriel is friends with? That would be a legend lore again, wouldn't it?
I mean, maybe a religion check.
It would be religion. I mean, the only like pantheon or the only divine relationship that's mentioned is specifically Salune. I always forget the one in Forgotten Realms. But Seljun.
Aren't there other moon gods too? Maybe reach out to one of them.
Or maybe hunter gods?
Right?
Well, we know the Daleks hate Time Lords. I mean,
I don't know why you think you would know that.
So I think after the end of that day's travels in the evening, I will go out and find something that I can hunt under the moonlight, something that's out. And then I'll pull out the expensive incense and try to do the moon rites. Here's a new door to knock on.
Okay.
And
this is before you've taken a long rest?
Right.
Okay, I will need a religion check.
Got a 14.
Okay. Duly noted.
And with that 14, I attempt divination. It is how would I find their missing friend, Wayne.
You did that the same question?
That was that, but now with a different. Yes, I took this.
Okay, same question, different target.
Right, different house, different religion.
Okay. So.
Are you asking about the Fane this time, or are you asking about? Wait,
Wayne.
What's the question?
So this time, you hear a Tabaxi children's rhyme that is mostly just the word follow. Right?
Indeed.
Follow the prey, follow the path, follow the hunt, follow the way, follow your parents, follow the priestess, follow the moon, follow the hunt.
Indeed. So, conferring with the party telepathically, Rory's like it seems fairly well laid out. Tomorrow, we should perhaps try to seek understanding of the Fane. And with that, I'm willing to offer the Night's Watch.
Chippy would like to do a divination spell before our long rest as well.
Okay.
He's going to try and get together some sort of offering that would be good for a goddess of the hunt. Maybe he's going to go out and try and shoot a game animal or something, which is probably the first time in his life he's ever hunted anything. And he'll come back and say, "Hey, I did it for you," along with the incense and stuff.
I mean, give me a survival check.
Hold on, let me see if he has a weapon capable of hunting. I don't think a rapier would quite do it. We have a sling. Yes, he's going to try and use... Oh, light crossbow. He's going to try and use light crossbow. Non-magical. What was the check? Survival check?
Yep.
Alex will help.
How'd it go?
It was...
There. Okay. And so I will say, it occurs to me that Shragon mentioned hunting as well. You both do successfully track down and menace a creature. At which point, it just like puts its hands up, taps your weapon, and then runs away. Like if it's ensnared, by the time it gets to you, like something has come and rescued it. There's, they're all on the same team here. But it's still enough to get the attention. Like the act of the hunt is the point, and to get getting the attention. So. Repeat your question.
So perhaps the offering is the sling stone used in his first attempt at hunting.
Okay.
I'm assuming as a rabbit he's vegetarian, so maybe he doesn't eat meat anyway. But anyway,
well,
so the question is...
Only if it's worth 25 gold, but okay. Go ahead. What's the question?
Yeah, I broke out the expensive incense for that.
How can we prepare for the next encounter we have with the Fane or any of its agents?
Okay. How can we prepare? Okay, so try, because it's also like something that has to occur in the next 7 days, and so I'm giving some moments here. You hear dun 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 dun, the more you know, and that's it. You have a brief image of a star flying across the sky.
Can I roll
mark that this is an omen?
Can I roll a knowledge familiarity with commercials from other cultures check?
No.
Meme history.
But that, with a star streaking across the sky above you, is your omen. Can someone give me a D100 roll?
Anyone have actual dice want to do it? Do we want to trust roll 20? Oh, cat. Stop it.
Roll 20 blessed me with a 9.
An odd 9? Okay. Well, so it is. Now can everyone give me a perception check?
Yes, I am good at those. Got a 16.
Solid checks all the way around. All right, so all of you before, some before others, but it's pretty apparent all at once. Like you can hear singing somewhere down the path. As it's past lunch, right? You're getting towards like evening and dinner and find a campsite sort of time of feeling. Do any of you have any timepieces, clocks, any yeah, because the sun is just there and it doesn't move. It's okay. So it's mildly disorienting, right? It's nowhere near as bad as it was in the astral plane, but it's still like this place is not attuned to your biorhythms. But yeah, you hear some like jaunty singing from a group, like seems like a group of people, mixed masculine and feminine voices.
What is the language?
What languages do you all speak? Does anyone speak Sylvan? I guess
Yes.
we'll be able to. Okay, it's a drinking song.
Oh.
Do either the Pixie or Chippy perhaps know it? Can I roll for like if it's from the Fey realm, then it might be one that they know.
There's a lot of mentions of hooves in the song. Hooves and galloping and speed. I don't know how many centaurs you've drank with.
That was going to be my question. If we can all hear this, it's in Sylvan, which I understand and speak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Fey touched myself, so any chance I might know the song?
Yeah. I mean, like again, I'll let you decide for yourselves how many centaurs you've partied with in the past. But this is absolutely a centaur drinking ballad.
As a satyr. About how far away is the music?
If it's a centaur, if it's a group of centaurs singing it, it's probably still a ways off because they're loud folk. So, but if assuming they're not moving, which is not a safe assumption, centaurs drink and ride all the time. The probably an hour out, right? Unless you're hurrying, right? You can hear it echoing off the face of the plateau that you're approaching.
So
I think
Chippy
it's
and
worth
Alex
catching up with these guys.
So Chippy and Alex will respectively pull out their flute and viol and start trying to sort of play along with the tune to see if they can figure out the chords or whatever.
Okay.
But if the party moves on, they'll like scurry to catch up.
It's
Are you
along your
going?
path, right? You're headed towards them.
Hey, Satter, are you headed towards them right now?
What was that one, Trigon?
Nanette would join Chippy in
Okay.
some music and flute.
Okay, and you probably all spend the next hour either in song or annoyed at being in song. Again, I'll let you decide what side of that divide you fall on. But before long, you do see a big campfire. I mean, more like a bonfire with about 24 centaur figures gathered around, drinking, cheering. You can see that like there are some like red and green and black armbands, and it looks, they're again, you speak Sylvan, so by the time you hear it, like you can hear, some sort of sporting event has recently happened, and they are bragging, swapping stories, and buying each other drinks to say, I'm sorry for that thing I did on the field.
We can see them at this point, or we're still hearing them?
Yeah, and they have heard you coming, and like you could hear, like they timed, like they synced up their song. You could hear them like syncing up and like tuning in with you, like joining the song as you were coming. So they heard you coming, and hey, come on along.
I was gonna say, well, we're still a ways off. I'm just like, oi, what are we singing and drinking to?
Didn't you see the match?
I look over at the rest of our group. Just like, the fuck did I miss?
I wasn't invited. Were you invited, Roken? How about you, Azaka? Did you go? Did you hold out on me? Was there gambling? Did I miss gambling?
You did miss gambling. Come get some anyway. We'll fill you in. Very friendly bunch. Thoroughly enjoying their time. Yeah, playfully rowdy. You see that one of them that's wearing like like 3 big medallions. It's clearly won a bunch of prizes the day. It's like, hey, pour me a drink. Travelers, yeah. He's got big braided beards. Clydesdale physique, both in the human and the horse. Cat got your tongue.
I'd love to come for a drink. What are you drinking?
Same meat as everybody, just more of it. You're new. Didn't see at the match. You must be... And he just points at the silver line hanging above the ground. Travelers, yeah?
You could say that.
Ye-
It's attracted our own match earlier.
Oh. Well, come on in and tell us all about it. And you have a friendly campsite for your long rest here. You don't have to work at the camping. That was the random encounter. But anything you'd like to check in with them. If they're whole
Are there
party
any,
of centaurs for your long rest.
Is there anyone that's already doing anything with dice or playing cards?
Most of the competitions are very physical.
Okay.
That
a lot
doesn't
of-
mean that you can't place a bet.
Exactly. Like they're but it's all mostly friendly betting. You get the idea that the serious competition already happened. And now it's, games of chance, darts, more, well, still games of skill over games of chance. Yep. Karaoke. But yes, plenty of gambling all around.
I would love to participate in this gambling.
And I just want to point out, for anyone that didn't notice, Chippy's performance check with his flute was 5, and he does have a +4, so that was pretty low. It's kind of characteristic, and that was before he started drinking, so...
It's only gonna stay at least as bad. All right, so you guys are able to take a long rest. You may not get the amount of great sleep, but there's no danger. You don't have to take watches if you don't want, and you, like I said, you have lodging and food for the evening. They're happy to share. I mean, just kind of shows up for them.
A little bit later, around the time, before everything quiets down, Chippy's going to hatch on the idea to just do as many minor illusions and prestidigitations, preferably to people a little ways away that aren't, or centaurs or whoever, they're not aware that he's doing it to them, and just sort of like, anyway, so a lot of pranky.
Okay.
Some higher level spells. I mean, he hasn't had a chance to really play with his illusion spells much, so.
Yeah, you get a reputation real fast around the camp. For the gamblers, can I get wisdom plus, I would call it medicine, if you're going to try and evaluate the general fitness of competitors?
Mhm.
Or if you have some other way to get an inside scoop, let me know.
How about insight?
I'd let that fly. Who's at the top of their game today? Is Alex helping?
Critical fail +9. So natural 1, modified 10.
Okay.
Apparently he's not good at that today.
You managed to break even. You're down for a while, but you make it up by the end. Gollum, how much money are you putting in?
Looking around, I'll say. Oh, what does it look like people are dropping?
Gems.
What's in the pool?
Random assortment of gems, kind of like 10 to 20 gold piece range.
Yeah. Okay.
Shiny rocks.
Indeed, I'll put down about 10.
Okay. You managed to make 15 by the time you part company.
Woo.
Do I roll insight to do that?
Yeah. If that's the path you want to take there.
Yes, I need to gamble.
Need to.
Perhaps I could rope someone into
plus
some
insight.
cards.
I got 28.
The centaurs honestly have no patience for cards. They got to move. A 28 though. Roken, how much gold are you putting in?
I was gonna put in 10.
Okay. So you're gonna get 18 back.
I put it all back in.
Well, that's by the time that you have to part ways, right? That's all the ups and downs. Like you're up 18 by the end of the games.
Okay.
Yes, I know that they just got done with their competition, but is there anything more physical going on?
Oh yeah, stick fights, headbutt competitions. I mean,
Let's get in on those headbutt competitions.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, if you want to compete, I will give you a series of Constitution saves. See how many rounds in you get.
All right.
Do opposed Constitution saves. That'll. Well, it's not a good first showing. But nobody shames you for it. You know, they're all jovial, good sports. But yeah, you get owned in the first round. Everybody just says it's the height advantage. I mean, obviously.
All right.
Great. So unless there's any other things you'd like to do with the centaurs, we can continue on your journey.
As soon as Gom mentioned cards, Chippy, I rolled a 10 for persuasion. Chippy tries pretty intensely to convince Gom to just start playing cards. Maybe they'll join us. If we start right now, maybe they'll join us. Maybe they'll join us.
Zero interest.
Okay, maybe later then. Unless
Like, hey,
now, I mean, if you want to. He'll probably bring it up again a few times later too.
Zero interest. It looks like Ole is of the try again persuasion. And I see a whole bunch more Constitution saves. I don't know if that was buttons going wild, but
Well, I pressed it once, and it's like, you know what? Let's just keep going. It's like, all right.
head butts all night. So just looking at your general scores. I mean, you come from behind at the end. I will say, but by the end, like it's a real comeback kid story. That satyr's got
like
heart.
any boxer with a concussion. Yeah.
Right. A lot of under 10 for the first 2/3, and then you come roaring out. So it's a rocky story. You're on your way. You feel free to hit if there's any spells you'd like to cast at the beginning of the day. I'll just assume you're going to keep your telepathic bonds up.
Sorry, I keep muting myself, and then I forget how long it takes me to figure out where the unmute button is. I think the telepathic thing only works for an hour, and so I'm thinking if there's anytime it looks like there's about to be a confrontation, if I have any inkling, then that would be the time to cast it. I don't know. I mean, it is a ritual. I could just do it every hour, but that seems a little unnecessary.
That is right. 10 minutes per hour to cast the ritual. That makes sense.
I'm thinking at the very beginning of the day, I might as well start out with the legend lore on the Fane.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do the legend lore on the Fane, and then I'll do the telepathic thing, just so that we can kind of discuss it for our first hour of travel.
So, Legends of the Fane. You spend your components and the ivory slips with the precious metals are inscribed with legends. Once upon a time, there were two competing and opposing deities from different parts of a world that whose cultures began to come into conflict with each other. Within those cultures, a heretical cult developed of peace-loving folk who believed that these two time deities were close enough that they did the enemies to friends ship. They believed that they could bring about a union of these two deities. Because belief shapes the universe, this heresy brought into being an abomination, a cosmic mistake, something abjured by all the gods, a being outside of time, and without its own footprint in it. It sought to depose all deities with through time, and also so upon its birth, it was immediately imprisoned, but because of its nature, it saw all of the vast possible futures. It was imprisoned outside of time, but still seeks to bring about a future or some timeline that results in its freedom. It steals people out of time and replaces them with its own agents in order to meddle with events on the material plane. And that's it. That's the that's the crux of it. It is currently imprisoned outside of time. But manipulates events.
And that's Fane, correct?
That's the Fane.
Well, that's like a strong cup of coffee. That'll put a whistle in our walk for the morning's walk, huh?
Yeah, Azaka seems shell-shocked by all of that.
Alex says to Chippy, I told you you should never try too hard to get along with people. You try way too hard. See, it's a wonder you haven't created some sort of behemoth like this yourself. You try so hard to make friends with people. I'm telling you. So for our next divination, how about who is Fane's angry older sibling that will kick his ass, and or who's at least as powerful as the Fane and wants to help us kick his ass? Anybody?
What spell are you using?
I'm just talking with the party about what spell to use.
Okay.
Or, I mean,
Well,
what
Azaka will pipe out. What spell gives us that?
Well, I was thinking the divination spell. I mean, I could contact other plane, but I don't know specifically someone to ask. So I would probably. I'm thinking ask somebody besides the angel we already talked to. Ooh, maybe we should try and contact the peace-loving hippies that created this thing and see if any of them are ready to be angry and.
And you continue down the path. Again, it's pleasant as you're conversing. Azaka is just processing. She doesn't have anything to add. The day is warm. You are getting very near the base of the plateau. By the end of the next, by the time it's time for your next long rest, you'll probably have reached it. And you can see that the arrow then, or the path then, it veers upward and seems to pick out a path up the plateau.
I got it. Why don't we use a divination spell and ask the Fane, why are you so angry?
Could we do that?
I'm asking the party, just to be clear. I'm not casting the spell with that question.
Zaka pipes up. I don't. Do we need magic for that? It got kicked out of time the moment it was born. Well, does it need to be angry about something else?
What if we just, if we let it loose and, I don't know, gave it a couple cupcakes or something?
That sounds like a terrible idea. Why would we let it loose?
Chippy's gonna start humming, why can't we be friends? Why can't we?
We seem to have a fairly straightforward path to take here. There is this thing that will be ahead. We will intersect.
Yeah.
Maybe the question would be, in this evening's divination, are we prepared to face it as we are now? That will be my divination. to Sylvanas. That's day 2.
So you cast the spell and you feel it reach out. But the answer is too far in the future for the spell. You feel yourself reaching out, and you hit the barrier, which tells you that whatever that is about, it will not happen in the next 7 days.
More than a week out, yeah.
Unless circumstances change drastically. But according to,
Right.
to the current course of events, right?
And that will be shared with the group, yeah.
Lunch passes. It's lovely. Find a stand of fruit trees. Seems exotic, all mixed together. Figs with a peppery flavor. Any other spells? Actions, plans? Can I get some perception checks as the day wears along?
Can I get assistance from my fox brain?
Yes.
I get 26.
So Alex and Roken spot it before anyone else. There's so the trees are pretty sparse. I mean, there's patches of trees, but it's mostly meadows at this point. Low trees, that like indirect light. You see in a clearing very close to the base that you're approaching, right in the path of the arrow, there is a figure, very large creature, that seems to be laying out a basket and a large amount of cloth. Like, by basket, I mean like a 20 by 20 foot wicker monstrosity. With that level of acuity, you could see that it does have something that looks like a weapon, but it doesn't look like anything that you've well, it looks like a naval cannon.
Some siege weaponry.
Yeah, kinda. Like that's where that's the as you get closer, that's where you see something like it. And you see that there's also like some sort of like spinning gyroscopic mechanism floating 30, 40 feet above it, sort of like up and down and flitting about. And as you approach, like it dips down and he looks up towards you and just waves jauntily. Ho, traveler! As it faces you, double check. It's medium sized, but only just barely. It's like about 7 foot tall from the bottom of its boots to the top of its little stubby ears. It is a great round humanoid person, just like built thick and big, with the head and snout of a hippopotamus. Ha ha! I suspected that where there was a road, there would be travelers. What do you do?
Is it speaking in common?
Yes.
Hello! As you suspected, we are travelers!
Great. I'm Gatsby Buffington. I'm an explorer. What do you do here?
Hey, are any of you more charming than me? Because I'm.
Grom steps forward. I'm here in the Beastlands seeking out exotic things to hunt.
Oh. Not much hunting to be done here. I mean, not if you plan to kill it. He was dressed in a bright red. It looks like a naval waistcoat, with big floppy golden epaulets and you know the embroidered dual buttons down the line, jodhpurs and thigh high boots.
Picklish has a charisma of 17.
Oh, wait, is this Picklish?
No.
He's
Stepping forward.
Picklish is traveling with us. That's right.
yeah.
Okay.
I am more interested in seeing their forms in action than I am in actually keeping any of them.
Creature of my own heart. Warforged.
So a gesture nod.
Rare folk you. I've seen a few in my travels. And, of course, the Harangon, the noble halfling, and mighty satyr.
And what, pray tell, do your people call themselves?
Oh, I am of the GIF. Some people wrongly pronounce it GIF.
Well, those are fools.
There was a war, they lost. I travel the plains, seeing the sights.
Was this war recent?
Every few years.
I mean, was it recent enough that we should have some drinks about it?
No. Grandfather's stories. Well, I'll tell you, those rotten jiffers are starting to get to up to no good again.
Well, unless their resurgence is imminent, do you fancy cards?
I've been known to play a few games. Do you know four hells and a penny?
I think you just offered to teach me. That was very kind of you, sir.
Let's do it.
Wait,
Have you
hold
got
on.
a toe to wager?
I feel like I've just met you. Maybe I'm overstepping, but do you feel like
Well,
killing
we
an
going for some cards?
Time Lord?
What now?
I was going to ask if you could deal me in for some cards, but yeah, maybe we could deal you in for some hunting creatures out of time. That's a pretty unique prey.
So what now? Oh, I'm not. No, I seek fantastic views and things to draw. Before we play cards, I must finish setting up my flight. I see from your path. I assume you're headed up the plateau.
That is correct. My path here seems to be these as well.
Well, perhaps I'll accompany you on the way up. It's barred from magical flight, but good old gnomish bullshit should serve me just fine. But before I take off, we'll play some cards. I don't know about any of this time monster business. I'm no great hunter.
No, but you are an explorer, yes?
Yes.
Perhaps you would want to join simply just to have some pictures to draw about it.
Tell me more. He starts to pull out cards and shuffle.
I sit down and do the cards game thing as well.
What do you tell him?
Swap stories.
Okay.
Share what we got.
He's a wanderer, grew up in the astral plane, served on some spelljammers, merchant stuff, got his wandering in, did some time kicking around Sigil, and then just started going wherever the wind took him. Artist, sells paintings usually. And what about you? I mean, the Warforged companion's been fairly forthcoming. You all headed along the same path, met by happenstance?
Along the same path.
The only path I follow.
I wandered into this group and we just happened to be in the same area, so decided to head this way to help them in finding their friend.
Oh. Noble stranger. Good to see those.
Also allows me to continue my studies.
As I wandered in, I can't say much about where they were before I thought all. Where the hell were we? Before I even knew, I honestly don't know where I am now, but it's definitely better than where I was before.
So
Still don't know how many days have gone by.
You were in Schultz.
Azaka pipes up. I think you mean the part in between in the astral plane.
That's what I don't like.
Well, it's home. It's not for everyone. It certainly has its own ups and downs.
I don't laugh.
So during the conversation, Chippy is going to be eyeing the thing floating above Buffington. Can I do an Arcana check to try and figure it out? Maybe he's going to have a muttered discussion with Alex about trying to figure out what it is. And
sure. Seems purely mechanical, but go ahead and give it a shot.
So since Alex is helping, it would be the 23, but still, like you said, mechanical, not Arcana, so maybe not covered.
Yeah, it doesn't have a with that you would see it doesn't have any sort of like spells or magical fuel powering it or anything.
So Sir, are you a tinkerer or a large a machinist of some sort?
I dabble.
What is this a friend of yours?
Oh, it's a tool.
What does it do?
Well, anything it's programmed to do. Keeps guard, sets alarms. Nothing complicated. I wouldn't eat anything it cooked.
Did you make it?
No. But I keep it in good repair.
Did you buy it? Can I buy one somewhere?
Also, but they're to be found. There's several sort of construct artists out and about. The city of Sigil has several such that I've worked with.
Can you recommend one for us?
Sure. Going to Sigil, are you?
Well, if said construct artist could make one that would help us with weird timey-wimey stuff.
It's not the first time you've mentioned that. What is all of this about?
It's really hard to have a rousing, enjoyable battle when somebody keeps twisting time around you.
I'm still missing context.
We just had a battle with somebody that kept doing funky things with time, which didn't make us happy.
I can see why that would be complicated.
It seemed generally dishonorable. I would say it was pretty much cheating, actually.
Huh. Seemed to have come out not the worse for it. A little rattled, maybe. I didn't know you before.
Well, rattled maybe, but grumpy is more the point. I'm not enjoying the idea of another similar ruckus.
Well, don't get in the way of divine beings. I don't know exactly what you came up against, but in my travels I've been in, divinely morphic realms a little too close to a god, and things got weird. I understand the concept. Is we mortals aren't on an equal footing here.
Got any friends to recommend in such realms? Anybody you had a particularly good feeling about?
I don't seek to get the direct attention of gods if I can help it.
Okay, so let's go back to the construct. Can it play cards?
No. No thumbs.
Chippy gets distracted by a bird flying by and sort of wanders off.
So Gatsby also, as you're talking, is continuing to set up what the players will recognize as some sort of dirigible. Seems to be a hot air contraption of some sort.
Classy spelljammer there.
Do you all need a ride? I could lose some ballast.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know if you can get up on your own propulsion, but I can fairly easily manage to follow the path. I can get off here shortly. Are you ready now?
Pretty much.
Oh.
Hold on, really quick. Have you ever seen these art objects? And Chippy's gonna try to gather from the party some of the planar art objects that we got from the body of the duplicate, and say, "Do you know what these are? Are these things valuable?"
I mean, he oohs and ahs over them. He's with that, without spending too much time on it. He is able to sort of like point out like planes of origin and potentially like different peoples that it might have come from. He's definitely knowledgeable on the topic. This is right in his wheelhouse. He does say that, I mean, unless without any of the cultural significance, though. I mean, if you don't pray to any of these gods, or care about any of these kings, really they're no more valuable than the materials they're made out of, which are quite valuable.
But perhaps in the right place to the right person, they might be wildly more valuable.
Yes, but I mean, the merchant's curse is finding the market, right?
So I have to check. Are you the market for any of these?
No, I make art. I don't collect it.
How about trade? You want to trade?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna pay for your ride?
Yeah.
You said these things are wildly valuable to you, right? Isn't that what you said?
No, I said that the materials have great inherent value. Yes.
Maha. Yes. Okay. Well, if you're willing to trade, I would join us for a trade too. Let's sit down and do some comparatives. Hey, Gollum has a question to ask. This shield +2 there in the group loot, did anyone take that? Shield +2? Oh, the trade. I got a shield +1. Traded it in.
Who are you trading with?
I'm
Whoever's
asking
trading with you.
questions of Chippy and Roken, and like,
Okay.
what do you guys think about this and this?
I'm assuming the loot sort of spread around the party just for convenience sake, but kind of randomly. And do we have a different understanding?
There's definitely like the general party loot bag. Wayne had been holding it, but I'm not going to say it disappeared with him because I'm not that guy.
So, Mr. Gatsby,
Zaka has it.
Yeah, Azaka will keep. That's fine.
Mr. Gatsby, what about the exotic planar metal ingots here? What about these things? Are any of these interesting to you?
Oh, I've got to say, I'm not really set to barter. I've sort of had my fill of capital gains, if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm.
Chippy's going to pick one at random and hold it up and say, surely this would make a striking denouement to your ensemble that you have going on there. I mean, this would certainly accentuate your epaulets. I mean, I would say you even deserve a new insignia of some sort to denote your accomplishments. Perhaps this would work as a trade for our travels with you.
I didn't ask for. Well, fine, give it to me. There, it's done. He just throws it in the basket. And he gets set to go. There's a moment where the little flitting gear-driven drone thing goes and starts to like lift up the part of the balloon over a heat source, and then it begins to fill. It's a giant purple and gold contraption, highly visible, like mostly canvas and velvet. You can see it's been patched a few times, worryingly, but I'm sure it's all fine. He put some stones. It looks. It's not coal, but it's some small, dense black and gray flecked stone that goes into the heat unit, and unless you want to stay on the ground, it's up and away.
Yay!
You can see it could have been a difficult climb, but the arrow's path definitely picked out, like, wove through the easiest way up. But you get to just see it in luxury. It takes about a half hour to just go drift directly upward. You catch some updrafts. It looks like Gatsby does a little work, but he's jovial about the whole thing, and he's just explaining all the stuff that's going on. Oh, ballast over here tilts us about 15 degrees, and then keep the heat up so that the buoyancy of the this is just kind of a constant background drone. He doesn't expect anybody to be listening. You think he's partly just talking through it himself?
Alex is going to take notes.
Okay.
She has a pen and paper that she uses.
And up you rise above the level of the plateau, and where down below you was temperate forest and a lot of mixed deciduous and conifers. As you hit the level of the plateau, it's immediately like you were back in Chult. The vegetation is the same, the hues of green, and you see that it is teeming with dinosaur life. All sort of prehistoric creatures of irrespective of any sort of rational paleological timeline, are wildly represented. And the path of the arrow turns and goes forward, and you can see about, from the balloon as you come up, you can see about 20 miles forward is a very, very large portal, like about 50 feet high, just like shaped, generally oval shaped, just dominating one section of the landscape, rivaling the size of trees nearby. And you can see that directly through its sort of reflective surface, there is a silver string that is the path of the arrow. Ooh. Not staying in the Beastlands long.
More than a week, I assume.
Huh. Well,
We're not sure. What do you recommend?
I don't know how good you are at identifying portals, but by the color and border scheme on that one, that goes to the Outlands.
Oh.
Know anything about it? Never been?
No,
Haven't been.
no. What would you be able to? We'd love to hear what you have to tell us about it, if anything.
Oh, certainly. And he sort of like sets the ballast so you're drifting that way toward the, still following the line. Like, so, the cosmos is laid out in a great wheel, right? material planes at the center, enveloped by transitive, and then the internal planes, the inner planes, elemental sorts, fire, water, that sort of thing. Then you get to the outer planes that are dominated by ideals and more the actions of mortal souls. All of those, when we are taught them in school, we tend to flatten them down on a map, right? But it's not really. It's more of a dual-sided globe that sort of pokes into itself on this. It gets lost to geometry. Anyway, think of a capstone on top of the wheel, like a hub over the entire mechanism. And that is the Outlands. It is the plane of portals. It has gateways to all of the outer planes, gateway towns specifically. There's a large portal there. That's not one of the gateway town portals. So that could pop up God knows where in the Outlands. The city of Sigil lays at the center of it. There's the giant spike. Yes, no, okay. So the way the plane is laid out, at the outer edges is sort of a misty vapor where you could accidentally fall into any given plane depending on which side of the alignment you're on. On the way in, it sort of solidifies a bit, and there's a very, very habitable ring, but much like a material plane. And then many towns and things of planar travelers. You get your gate towns. Then, as you move inward from that, you find that magic begins to fail. It becomes more and more difficult, and more powerful magics are subsumed and unable. And as the landscape goes from being flat, it goes up to an asymptotic point, a near infinite spike, potentially infinite spike. I've certainly never tried to venture to the top, although now that I've said it out loud, it's on my list. And towards the apex of it is a toroid, a donut that's sort of set along on top of the spike like a ring, and on the interior face of that torus lay the city of Sigil. So it's its own sky. Any questions?
It was all very informative. There seems to be a lot going on there.
Oh, it's a
I've
lovely
traveled
place.
through a few, but I certainly don't know my way around them like that.
It is a vast plain. I mean, one could spend a lifetime just going gate town to gate town. I would potentially skip some from, say, the Nine Hells or Infernus, but that's personal taste. I don't know you very well. I won't want to judge. As you are flying, are you casting any spells?
None from me.
All right.
Are we approaching? Are we getting close to the portal, or are we still far away?
You're still fairly far away. So it's about a half day's flight at regular speeds, assuming we don't tussle with any of the local fauna.
What skill would this type of knowledge be?
Which type?
Well,
Where?
like about planes. Would that be religion?
Religion.
Well, we have learned several things over the past few days. We've learned about these different planes. We've learned about some different deities involved. some creatures. We know that we have some time traveling here.
Why, quite the adventure. Gods, you say?
But I mean, I speak to mine, every day. So there's several of them. They all have their preferences.
One time, when I was a kid and I was working at the Witchlight Carnival, there were several several gnomes that came in, but I see old Gathunkus was pretty sure that they were not actually gnomes. In fact, he said that one of them may have been the Raven Queen, but just decided to come in as a lark, as a gnome. But I felt pretty strongly at the time. I mean, I was very young. I was just a wee hair, but I felt pretty strongly that that there was something going on with those three gnomes. I don't know if I actually met any gods, but I mean, it was a carnival. We traveled everywhere, so really, like, certainly we traveled through some different. I mean, some even consider the Fae themselves gods, like some of them anyway. I mean, not to put you on the spot here, Satyr, but has anyone ever called you a god? I mean, I'm a god among rabbits, at least little rabbits.
I mean, not outside the confines of a bedroom, no.
My man. Of course, godhood has a very defined range and purpose. You draw power from worship, you grant favors to cultivate that worship. You are too powerful to exist on a mortal plane. Your very presence is morphic to the outer planes. They bend to your very will. I don't think the planes bend to your will.
Rule.
Oh, what?
That's a lot of rules. Like, don't the gods get mad they have so many rules?
They're not rules. They're the definition of godhood. I mean,
you know a lot about this. Are you a god of the gift?
No, I am a student. I know. I drink and I know things.
Ah.
But this is not unknown information. I mean, I do have the advantage of not having grown up on a material plane, so having a bit more direct experience. The gods, of course, are barred from entering mortal planes. They would just, I mean, by common agreement, they would just shatter them, so they don't.
That's decent of them.
Well, I mean, basically not shitting where you eat. They wreck entire portions of the plains. Where will their worshippers come from?
Huh.
There are no new souls. There's the whole mechanism starts to break down.
So wait, you're not supposed to shit where you eat? Is that what you're saying? I gotcha. See? You thought we were savages.
I mean, common phrase amongst my people. Perhaps your shit smells like flowers. I've traveled enough, I don't judge. And you continue to drift. As the conversation drones on, Gatsby is happy to pontificate at length on a great many topics. He does seem like a knowledgeable planar traveler and is happy to fill you full of good planar knowledge. He's got all the hot goss that is current. But as you are realizing that one thing he has not mentioned at all is anything about the entire mechanisms of souls and revivification. Has not mentioned that at all. Seems like it would have come up. That's about the time that the camera zooms out as the balloon continues to drift towards the giant portal as you drift above the dinosaur-laden jungle below you. And that is where we will cut it for the evening. Thanks everybody for playing. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, hit like. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Hit follow, notifications, whatever platform you're on. Just click all the buttons. We will be here next week for more of this. And meanwhile, have a good game.
Bye.